Hi Ultimate Gardeners, welcome back to the Ultimate Gardening channel. I'm Emmanuel, so well known as the Ultimate Gardener. In today's exciting spotting video, I'm gonna give you guys an entire tutorial about squash. Squash is one of the most easiest vegetables out there, and they produce like crazy. So if you want to know every single detail about squash, on how to care for them and what's expected to be the outcome of squash, please stay tuned with us. So Ultimate Gardeners, the first point I wanted to come through is about flowering. Flowering is a bit more difficult to understand when it comes to squash because how difficult it knows on how to know about a female flower and a male flower. So first things for sure is all the first set of flowers you're going to see are all going to be male flowers because the squash plant is getting to the point of where it's starting to vine out and it's not the proper size yet to start producing female flowers. And so once they get to a certain size, that's when the plant is going to go ahead and send energy into creating female flowers. Female flowers and male flowers are very easy to identify. Female flowers will already have the squash already growing on the base of the flower. The male flower does not have no signs at all of squash, but you want to go ahead and focus on the female flowers, which is where the actual product will come out of. So let me go ahead and go to a plant that is producing female flowers so I can show you guys the difference. So to main gardeners, here's the first plant. This is the early white scallop squash. If you can see right here, this is a male flower. This does have some type of node here, but this is not the actual vegetable. But if we go over here, this is a female flower right here. This is the actual product you want to see because this, you can already see the squash forming on the base where the flower and the actual squash is connected. And so this is what you want to focus on right here because this needs to get pollinated in order for this to actually grow on. And this plant, it's covering up with these female flowers. We have 1, 2, 3, and a little bit more coming along here. So you'll see a ton of these male flowers come out in the beginning, and then once you have a little bit of patience and it's a little bit more later on in the season, you will see these start to come out. So let me go ahead and go on to the other types of squash because it's a different type of form and I want you guys to know both types of forms. So to my gardeners, here we have the bonbon squash. So if you can see right here, there is a male flower forming because there's no like signs of actual squash. But if I pull this away, there is an actual female squash growing right here because you can see that there's an actual squash right there. This is where the stem, where it's connected to the vine, and then the squash, which is connected to the bloom. You want to go ahead and pollinate the female flowers, whether if you have a ton of pollinators in the garden and they pollinate it already for you, or you could go ahead and hand pollinate, which when it gets to the time when these are open, I'll most definitely do a video on that. But there's also multiple out there, like channels out there that do show you guys how to hand pollinate. So I would recommend checking those out. And so this is the difference between a female flower and a male flower. Male flower is the regular flower without a node or anything. Female flower has signs of actual squash formation and then has the flower on top. So let me go ahead and move on to care tips. So ultimate gardeners, moving on to care tips. So squash, like any type of squash, are water hogs. They need water constantly because vines like these do take up a ton of water, and so they need a constant feed of water in order for them to actually stay alive. And so here in Florida, we don't need to have to actually water every single day because it rains almost every single day here around this type of season, and so watering is not that necessary with here. And so, but with other areas, you have to water one time every 2 days in order for them to actually stay happy. Another thing is fertilizing. A squash need fertilizer because their fruit or their actual squash takes up a ton of energy from the vine, and so you want to have them a constant feed with fertilizer so they could constantly get that boost of energy and that boost of nutrients and proteins that needs the fertilizer provides for the plant. And so you want to fertilize every single month strictly with these squash until their season is done, and then you should have a very good sized squash. Another thing is you have to have space for it. This area, I did the mistake of planting 5 squash, 4 around the same area and 1 by itself. You want to go ahead and do spacing sort of like this because vines grow big. Some of the vines on the fence are already growing upwards, and so I did not do the proper spacing. But for next time, I know you need to have a lot of space in order to grow squashes like this, because they do expand very big, and so you need to have your area ready to actually welcome those huge type of vines, and they wouldn't bother you. And so I'm glad that I didn't put enough, like a lot there, because our walkway is over there, and so we don't have them disturbing us, which is good. Another thing is diseases. Squashes are very easy to get diseases. Examples like aphids, whitefly, powdery mildew, and so you need to go ahead and help them prevent that with an all organic neem oil. I would recommend. Another thing is squashes like this, they do tend to get a lot of root rot, because the stems of the squashes are very delicate, and if they get overwatered, they will at one point get rotted, and then their stems won't work anymore, and then the whole plant wants to die. So you don't want to overwater, and so you want to make sure the soil is moist but not soaking wet. And so back to the diseases, whitefly, like for example, one of this plant, the one that's producing a female flower, the early white scallop squash, does have some type of disease going on it, and so I'll go ahead and spray with an all organic neem oil to help prevent that. When it comes to produce like this, you want to go ahead and prevent using any type of chemicals that could damage the plant or affect the squash, because any type of gardener wants to go all organic, so they could have organic produce coming off of the vegetable garden. So I would recommend going with neem oil, which is a whole plant based formula to repel any type of disease like that. So if you have neem oil in hand, go ahead and spray it. But if you have some type of preference in disease spray, you could go ahead and do that also with these. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, you guys. I will do a video on how to hand pollinate and harvest things, so make sure to stay tuned for that. So let me go ahead and wrap up this video for you guys. So ultimate gardeners, that's gonna be it for this exciting sprouting video. Once again, a huge shout out to Jung Seeds for sending out the seeds for me to trial out this year. Their social media links are down below for you guys to check out. Amazing products, I would highly recommend them. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button, and if you want to support my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to get notified when a new exciting sprouting video comes out just like this one, make sure to hit that bell notification button so you get notified when a new exciting sprouting video comes out. Thank you all so much for watching, and never forget to grow big, ultimate gardeners. Bye guys.